New. So I just wanted to talk about something really quickly and like review it a little bit, even though I don't really know like what to say about it. Which was about a week ago. I watched the Cloverfield Paradox on Netflix. Apparently they put it up on there like right after Super Bowl or something, I guess. I watched it because I just finished watching Altered Carbon, and it recommended it to me. And also, I'm sort of a kind of a fan of Cloverfield. Well, I really liked 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't know how many people like that movie, but I liked it. I actually saw that one first in theaters before I saw Cloverfield. I rented Cloverfield on Netflix. That was pretty good, I thought. I didn't like it as much, but it was good. But yeah, so basically, this new movie, I don't think anybody expected them to put it on Netflix, because I knew that there was a new Cloverfield movie coming out this year, and like, if you Google it, it says it's coming out in April, I think. So maybe they're still going to put it into theaters. So I don't know why they would bother putting it on Netflix first, because then everyone's just gonna watch it on there and then not have to go see it in theaters. So I don't really know what the logic was with that decision. But basically, it's not good. I didn't think so. I actually had more fun reading reviews of it on IMDb, just trashing it, than I did actually watching it, because it's just not good. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it, because it's just interesting. Kind of hurting my brain a little bit, because it's I don't know a lot about science myself, to be fair, and personally, I don't really think that that every sci-fi or every movie or TV show needs to have totally correct science. It kind of bugs me when people say that, because it's a TV show, it's supposed to be fun and or entertaining. A lot of people really like Interstellar because of the fact that it has real science. I started watching Interstellar several months ago. Never finished it. My brother was making me watch it because he really likes it. He likes Christopher Nolan, which I like him too well enough. And it wasn't a bad movie in any aspect. It was just kind of boring times, in my opinion. But yeah, so I do plan on finishing it at some point. I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but I will. But yeah, so some people say that it needs to have real science in it, but like, to me, I feel like to some extent that's a good thing, but also like it needs to also be entertaining. And also, even though I don't know a lot about science, like I did feel like, and someone on IMDb commented this, but they said that it seemed like basically they just like Googled a list of like buzzwords in science and like just sprinkled them through the dialogue, basically. Like they didn't do any research or anything on what anything actually meant. They just like found some big fancy science words and just stuck them in there. I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't really know a lot about science, so I can't really judge, but it did seem like that to me. I could totally just like make a whole video like just reading the IMDb reviews because they were that funny. Like I might do that still, but like one of them said something like when will Hollywood realize that J.J. Abrams has no clothes? That made me laugh out loud, actually. Yeah, because he is talented in a lot of ways, but he's also kind of a hack / an asshole. But yeah, like this movie, in many ways, it did feel like it was like leading up to something, but it just never got to the point, which was actually pretty similar to what Lost felt like back when I used to watch it. Like you're just getting just nothing but questions, more questions, and just none of them are ever being answered, which is like the most frustrating thing ever. And there were, some talented actors and such in it, and they all did their best, but it's just doesn't make any sense. And it's just, I don't know, it was just like cheesy, but like not in a fun way. Like you could tell that they were trying really hard to like, make you really believe in what was happening and make you really care about it, but you just don't. And like, which is frustrating because after seeing 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield, I did want to know like where they were going to take the franchise, and if they were ever going to like really explain what was going on, or if you would ever even actually see the monsters. But like, again, it still feels like they're just giving you more questions than answers, and it's like, I don't know how many movies they're planning on making in this series, but yeah, it just feels like every movie is just like, we're just gonna confuse the crap out of you and just make you keep coming back, and then maybe at some point we'll tell you what's going on. I don't know. I mean, yeah, again, like I said, I don't really know science, so I can't really critique them on whether any of the science is right. But basically it's like a bunch of scientists from, like astronauts from all over the world. They spent like 2 years on a what's it called? Space station. They go out into space and they're out there for 2 years, and they're like, yeah, I can't even remember most of the plot, which is partially my fault because I wasn't paying attention, but also partially their fault for not being interesting enough for me to pay attention. But like, they go out into space and they have a particle accelerator on their space station, which is called the Shepherd. I don't know what the significance of that is, because there was Jack Shepherd on Lost, which I never finished watching that show, by the way. I watched it for years and years on TV. That was like the first TV show that I ever got really hooked on. But anyway, but I know that Kelvin has significance. Like J.J. Abrams puts the name Kelvin into all of his movies. Like in Force Awakens, at the beginning, Rey said something about Kelvin Ridge, and then in Cloverfield, it's the name of like the gas station, like the gas company, where you fill up your car. So I think that was named after his grandpa, I think. But yeah, but I don't know what the significance of the name Shepherd is, if there is any. But so they're like floating around in space, and yeah, I don't remember what they're trying to do, like look for alternative fuels or something, because Earth is running out of fuel in their storyline. I don't know how they expect to do that with a particle accelerator, but basically, as happens in these kinds of movies, they do the thing, and it goes wrong, and then that's the like explanation for the events in the Cloverfield movies, which when I was reading about them on IMDb, I learned a new word to describe them, which is sidequel, which is like separate movies talking about the same things, but like in different settings. So yeah, I didn't know how to refer to them before, so now I do. But yeah, so that's their explanation for why there's like monsters just appearing out of nowhere and eating everybody. Is they like ripped a hole in the space-time continuum or something and awoke a monster, or I don't know. But so meanwhile on Earth, so we saw in the first Cloverfield movie just New York getting destroyed, as usually happens, and people getting eaten, and like there's weird gas flowing through the streets that's infecting people or killing them. And then in 10 Cloverfield Lane, that was where they were in the bunker for like the whole movie. And then finally the main character escapes and there's like aliens outside. She escapes them and then we presume goes to try to help, like go to the camps where people are, try to help with their like resistance or whatever against the aliens. But we don't really see her doing that after spending a whole movie underground. But yeah, so all that's happening on the ground, and then meanwhile, up in space, these astronauts are stuck in an alternate dimension or something. Like, yeah, they don't really explain that, but there's all these like weird, like they would say haunted house kind of things going on. Like there's one guy who his eye starts like moving around by itself, and then like a bunch of worms explode out of him or something, like the worms that they had on the ship. Which I would like to know why there are worms on spaceships. Apparently that's the thing. They did that on Last Man on Earth also. Why do they have like caterpillars and worms and stuff on space stations? I don't know. No one ever taught me that. But yeah, and then there's like this one guy who is actually the like the cop in Bridesmaids, and he was the dad on Miss Peregrine's Home for Children, blah blah blah. But he like is an astronaut from Ireland, and he like randomly puts his hand against the wall, and then the wall like pulls him in, and he can't get his arm out for a minute, and then like two other people help him get his arm out, but like his arm is just a stump, like his arm is gone after this point, but he didn't like bleed or feel anything, it's just gone. But then like they find it crawling down a hallway at some point, and they put it in a box, and like it starts like tapping on the ground, so they give it a pen, and then it writes a message telling them to cut the guy that was full of worms, cut into his stomach. And they find some like device that they just happened to need to fix the ship in his stomach. Yeah, so basically there's just all this weird stuff happening. So apparently it's happening because their ship exists in multiple dimensions and they're like crashing together or something, so everything's going wrong. And yeah, at one point they find the Elizabeth Debicki, they find her like in the wall, like with like she has wires going through her body and everything. I don't know how that happened, she just got tangled up in the ship. And the ship is literally in her. They get her out and she survives. And she's like, oh hey, I work on this ship. And she says that her job is the job that this one Chinese lady has in another dimension. She fills her role in another dimension. So she like knows everyone in the group but that one lady. But they're other dimension selves. And also, there's this character played by, I think her name is Gugu Mbatha Raw. She, like, her kids are dead, and she and her husband don't have kids because she, like, stole a power cell, so that her family could have energy, and it, like, blew up, I guess, and killed her kids, which is sad. But so she finds out that her family is still intact, her kids are still alive, in the dimension that Elizabeth Debicki's character is from. So she's like, hey, I'm gonna stay behind. I'm gonna go into that dimension and try to save that version of me's kids. And this other astronaut's like, oh, what about your husband? Like, what if you don't make it back? And she's like, oh, he'll understand. Which is like, I don't know. Like, I get why she would want to save her kids, even if they're not actually her kids, but like, would she rather possibly save an alternate dimension version of her family, or be able to make it back to her actual husband? I don't know. This whole movie is just a mess, and I'm saying that as someone who likes a lot of bad movies and doesn't know anything about how to write a movie. It was a mess. I mean, yeah. So, I don't really know what this means for the whole Cloverfield franchise or anything. But the music was really good. Bear McCreary did the music for 10 Cloverfield Lane, which again, I really like. And he also does the music for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think. Yeah, he's really good at writing scores. But, yeah. It was something. Oh, and I think Colleen Atwood did the costumes. So that's cool. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Like, if you want to just get a massive headache or be entertained by how stupid it is, then watch this movie. But yeah, like, I will say that it's going to go into my list of favorite movie quotes for 2018, because when the Irish guy, when his arm, which is independent from his body, starts writing a message, and they find the thing in the other guy's stomach, the Irish guy says something like, "Oh, good job, arm." Okay, I'm going to bed. Yeah, I'm going to bed.